Make us not merely admirers of justice, but doers of justice, not only thinkers and prayers for peace, but the very hands and feet and voices of your reconciling love. Free us from the lies that you call your people to be polite and not courageous, nice and not bold, equivocal and not clear. Give us courage to risk our comfort, our privilege, and our reputations for the sake of your gospel. Grant us the strength to organize, to vote, to advocate, to protest when laws deny your children their inherent dignity, and to stand publicly and persistently alongside those with whom you stood, the poor, the oppressed, and those we have pushed to the margins. Hasten the day, O God, when justice rolls down like waters and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. Send us out from this place with clear eyes, courageous hearts, and bold voices to organize, to advocate, to protest, to vote, to protect, and to build the beloved community you demand, not someday, but today. May we become instruments of your peace and justice, continuing the work of your saint, beloved Martin, in faith, with hope, through love. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Mello, for that powerful invocation. Good afternoon, everyone, and happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Once again, happy birthday, Dr. King. It means so much to me. It's so heartwarming to see so many young people here today with their families, community leaders, gathered here to represent power, to represent unity, to represent strength. We're here full of purpose, full of pride, full of honor, full of glory. Dr. King believed in young people. He knew that kids and teenagers could change the world. In 1963, during the Children's March in Birmingham, young people just like you stood up, spoke out, and marched for justice when others were told to stay quiet. And because they were brave, history changed. Today, as we get ready for our own Children's March, we don't want to copy the struggle, but to carry the message forward. We march to show that young voices matter. We march to say that fairness, kindness, and respect are worth standing up for. And we march to remind ourselves that change doesn't start when you're older, it starts right now. So to the young people here today, your voice is powerful. Your ideas matter. When you stand together, you speak up peacefully, and when you choose love over hate, you are doing exactly what Dr. King dreamed of. To the parents, educators, and community leaders, thank you for lifting up our children and walking beside them. This is what community looks like. Learning together, growing together, standing together. Dr. King told us that everybody can be great because everybody can serve. And yes, today we serve by marching, by listening, by believing in one another. Let's march with pride, with joy, and with hope, knowing that together we are part of something powerful. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much to our Executive Director, Tanya Hughes. As we celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King and all of his accomplishments and the peace and serenity that he gave to all of us, we are excited about the voices of our children. And as you can see on this stage, we have children who will be speaking to us. While they'll only have about a minute to a minute and a half to speak, Listen to every word that they say because it's important. Their voices are important. They matter. They are going to lead us to a place of righteousness. And we are not free. No one is free until we are all free. And so let's listen to the voices of our children. This march started 5 years ago, and it is patterned after the 1963 Children's Crusade. In 1963, adults were not allowed to go and protest, or they would have lost their jobs. Adults of color, that is. They would have lost their jobs. So the children took to the streets, and they wanted to end segregation. Look at your neighbor. Look around the room and see that you're sitting next to people who don't necessarily look like you. That's on purpose. That's on purpose. And this year, we're joined by Hartford's Proud. And why that's important is the following. Hartford's Proud is a group of kids. There may be 30 or so of them here. We're excited. They're a marching band. They're going to be marching with us, and we could not be more excited on this day that Martin Luther King would have been 97 years old. And we're also joined by all of the important community leaders who believe in action and speaking truth to power, even though they are the ones in power. They're out there doing something for us. So we're going to turn to the children now, and we're going to have a CHRO intern who has been with us for several years, working alongside us and in our Kids Court program, Kids Court Academy, and her name is Ziva Haviland. Put your hands together and give a round of applause for Ziva Haviland and Nitya Panwar. If the two of you could come up.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is often remembered for his leadership in the civil rights movement. However, his influence in the women's rights movement has often been overlooked. Dr. King believed that injustice everywhere threatens justice everywhere, and he understood that equality cannot exist if any group is excluded. Dr. King marched for women who were underpaid. He spoke up for women's rights and equality. He helped organize for women who were victims of oppression. He worked along female leaders, supported fair employment, and spoke openly against the need for dignity, opportunity, and voices for all people, regardless of gender. What inspires me most about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is that he didn't just fight for racial discrimination. He fought for the rights of everyone around him, understanding that if one group was oppressed, no one was truly free. Dr. King fought for women's rights, for economic justice, workers' rights, and for equality for everyone. He is often remembered solely for his influence in the anti-segregation movement. However, his legacy extends far beyond racism. Dr. King believes that true justice includes all people. His work fighting for women, workers, and racial equity shows that his dream is not rooted in one struggle, but in the belief that freedom belongs to everyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. When I was asked what this MLK March means to me, I realized that it's so much more than remembering our history. It's about recognizing the role that each one of us has in what comes next. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. showed the world what it means to stand with purpose and to stand with courage, even when the odds felt impossible. His legacy pushes me to reflect on my own actions because it is easy to say that we believe in justice and equality, but it is much harder to live with those values, to speak up, to stay consistent, and to choose compassion even when it's uncomfortable or inconvenient. As I look toward the future, I want to follow his example by refusing to look away from what is wrong, and by choosing to make a difference where I can. I want to help create spaces where people feel safe to be themselves, where they're truly heard, and where they're supported enough to grow and contribute to change. I know I cannot fix everything, but I can show up, I can listen, and I can stand beside those who deserve better. Today's march reminds us that Dr. King's dream is not a speech that we quote once a year. It is a responsibility that we carry daily. And if each one of us keeps moving forward, even in small ways, then we're doing exactly what he hoped for, building a world that is more just, more united, and more hopeful than the one that we have today. Thank you.
Listen to the voices of our children. These two students represent the Connecticut Kids Court Academy, the two that just spoke. Can we give them another round of applause? Next, we turn to our constitutional officer, the state treasurer of the state of Connecticut, Eric Russell, who joined us for the first time, I think, last year, but he will be invited until we no longer need to march, because he is a dynamic speaker, a fierce presence, and maybe not that much older than the children who just spoke. No, I'm just kidding. But without further ado, our state treasurer, Eric Russell.
I think my gray hair would signal something else, but I'll take it. Good afternoon, everyone. So it's great to be here with all of you as we celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. King, but also as we really celebrate young people and the power of their voices in this movement and the importance of that. I first just want to thank the Connecticut CHRO for organizing this incredible event every year. Thank you to St. Peter's Episcopal Church for hosting us here in this beautiful space. This is always a really powerful event, and as many of us do a lot of events celebrating Dr. King's life, this one is always my favorite because young people are at the center of it. And when you think about, the Children's March for Peace and the history that it's rooted in, right, as was just mentioned, young people out taking to the streets, their safety on the line, fighting against injustice and segregation, and the power that that ultimately had. And I think when we think about a lot of this history, when we think about the movement, we forget the impact that young people had in changing this country. In particular, right now, I'm reminded of Claudette Colvin, who just passed away last week at the age of 86. And she doesn't often get as much attention in the history books, but was the first person to really sit in and refuse to get up and move her seat in Birmingham during the bus boycott movement, and really launching this movement all across the nation. And I think about this often as we talk about Dr. King's legacy, as he's almost this mythic person in many ways, right? We think about what he did and what he contributed, and it didn't seem real. And the reality is that we all have a piece to play in this. No one is too small, no one's voice is too soft to make an impact. And what it requires is for all of us to step up and to take action. I think as we think about this day, it certainly is about remembering the past and acknowledging that history, but what it's also this opportunity to recommit to the work. Recommit to the action. I think we all know that we are in a perilous time in this country's history. And so many of the fights that we've had in this country, so many of the people that have stepped up and fought for where we are seeing much of that effort slide back right now. And I think it's the reminder that every generation has the responsibility to keep this fight going, otherwise we lose ground. And so as we are out marching today, standing with these incredible kids, I'm excited to hear more remarks that we have coming up. But I hope that we all take this moment to really reflect on where we are and our own individual opportunity and responsibility to keep the fight going and make our contributions as we move forward. So I thank you all for being here. Thank you all for all you are going to say and have said already. And I look forward to getting out there with you this afternoon. Thanks.
Decades and decades of wisdom. Thank you so much to our state treasurer, Eric Russell. Next up, representing St. Peter's Youth, Jeremy Works and Ezekiel Works. And I just got a feed that you have to make sure you speak into the mic and speak up so that we can hear you. So Jeremy, if you would come here, and Ezekiel there. Thank you so much.
My name is Jeremy Works, and I am 12 years old. I attend Dodd Middle School and represent St. Peter's Church. Martin Luther King Jr. means a lot to me because he stood up for what was right even through tough times. He believed that everyone should be treated equally, no matter the skin color, and he used peaceful words and actions to make change. Because of what he did, our world today can be more free and fair, but we still have plenty of work to do. We are still speaking up against bullying, racism, and unfair treatment, which shows that Dr. King's message is still alive. To make a difference in our future, we can be kind, include others, and stand up when something's wrong, even in small ways at our school or our community. If everyone tries to pitch in, we can try to make a huge impact, and we can keep moving towards the dream that Martin Luther King Jr. believed in, our dream. Hi, my name is Ezekiel Works, and I go to Dodd Middle School, and I'm representing St. Peter's Church. Today we honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by remembering what he stood for: courage, truth, and belief that ordinary people and anyone can reshape this country. He taught that justice doesn't arrive on its own. It moves when we move. His impact is still alive in the rights we have, the voices we raise, and the communities we build. Because he pushed the nation to face injustices, we get to push it further. That's why our march today matters. Every step we take forward continues his work. Every step forward says we refuse to be silent. And every step forward brings us closer to the world he imagined today. We don't just remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., we walk in his direction of justice and equality.
And Works boys are now both 12 years old. They're a set of twins, and they started this march. They were 7. And so you can see how time marches on, and I like what you said, Ezekiel. With every step we take, it's a step forward, and we're moving forward, and hopefully you heard and received that message. Next, we will have the Deputy Secretary of State, Jennifer Barahona. As you know, voting rights they're so important, and it is definitely a civil rights issue. So we are honored to have you here from the Secretary of State's office to say a few words. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon. So pleased to be with you, and I hope you know that I can speak for hopefully the Congresswoman and Treasurer Russell, that we get as much out of this as you do, that it's really hard to do some of what we're doing, adulting, and we have hope when we see the likes of the young people in here and the courage that you have and the voices that you use, so thank you. It's truly inspirational and helps keep us going. As you know, Dr. King believed in unity over division, peace over violence, and hope even when, as the treasurer said, the future seems in peril or uncertain. And what makes this march so powerful is that you're not just the leaders of tomorrow, you're the leaders of today. And when you show up to community events like this or speak up in your schools, you send a message that justice matters, and that fairness matters, and that every person deserves to be seen and heard. The secretary, who couldn't be with us, she's at another event, and sometimes I like when she has to be in 2 places at once because it means I get to come to something really neat like this. But Secretary Thomas is at another event, sends her regards, but she and I are fond of saying that it's not just about voting. Voting is 1 out of 365 days a year, sometimes more often if you vote in your primary. But what happens, and you should, if there is a primary, I should. Democracy is showing up 365 days a year. What you're doing today is civic engagement. Part of my role, and I spoke with a young woman who's a new intern at CHRO as a social worker, as a macro level social worker, is to help people know how to speak up, how to vote, how to take part in their democracy. We also like to make the distinction that we have a representative democracy, which is different than a democracy. And what that means, it relies on every one of you to participate, to be involved, and to share your voice with those who you've elected to represent you. So I hope you do that. I hope you continue using your voice, because when we listen, when we stand together, when we share our experiences, we refuse to give up on each other. And my favorite quote from Dr. King that I hope you'll think about today is that our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. I think it feels scary, particularly at this time, to speak up and show up, but that's where you lean on each other and you support one another and you keep showing up, you keep leading with compassion and speaking up for what is right and building a more peaceful and just world, starting right here in your own communities. Thank you for marching, thank you for being here, and thank you for carrying on Dr. King's legacy.
Thank you so much for those very inspiring words, and for everyone who's spoken today. You're all amazing. I'm Michelle Dumas-Kuhler. I'm one of the managing directors of the legal division at the CHRO. Thank you so much for coming out today. I'm taking over the reins for a little bit. I got the mic. Moving along, for our next speaker, we have another KCA representative right now, which is amazing. Sakripa Bala, come on up, and she's going to give a few words about KCA and about today.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you are all enjoying this snowy day. Today we are honoring Dr. King, a person who changed history. Dr. King strived and fought for our freedom, so no one should be discriminated against based on their color. Dr. King was an inspiration for many. He showed people his perspective of how the world should really look like. He led the civil rights movement and dedicated his life to his vision. Dr. King also gave many opportunities to kids. In 1963, Dr. King organized a children's march where over 2,000 students marched down the streets of Birmingham. Police were hosing down many children and yelling at everyone. But that didn't stop Dr. King and the kids. They kept marching and were determined to make a difference. Dr. King continued to stand up against segregation through other important acts of protest. After Rosa Parks didn't give up her seat on a Montgomery bus, which led her to being arrested, Dr. King held a 13-month protest, which led to the desegregation of Montgomery buses. All of us kids here today should be moved and inspired by Dr. King's words. He spoke out and helped others in many different ways. So I hope all of us kids get inspired and fight for what's right, because I believe all of us kids can change the world. So as we march today and honor Dr. King's legacy and continued impact on our world today, let's keep these words of his in our mind. If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you gotta keep moving forward. Today and every day, we will continue forward, building the world together Dr. King dreamed of. Thank you.
Awesome job. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Genevieve Peruccio, who is the outreach assistant for U.S. Senator Chris Murphy's office. Genevieve.
Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Genevieve Peruccio, and I'm here to read a letter on behalf of Senator Murphy, who could not be here today. Dear friends, I extend my warmest greetings to all those who will be in attendance today for the Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities Annual Children's March. I wish I could be in attendance for what I'm sure will be an impactful and moving event. This annual march is a meaningful tribute to the work of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose life taught us that courage and determination are needed to build a more just world. Through uplifting children's voices, you help teach young people that they can and must play a role in the work of building a more equitable society. Every year, my office actually holds an essay contest for students to write about his legacy. Their thoughtful reflections, as well as events like this, give me hope and remind us all of the incredible potential of young people to lead us toward a better future. Thank you all at the Connecticut Commission on Human Rights and Opportunities and St. Peter's Episcopal Church for the supporting youth across Connecticut. I thank you for your efforts to put together this meaningful event to commemorate the work of Dr. King, especially during a time when we need to heed his lessons more than ever. I look forward to continuing working hand in hand with all of you for years to come. Sincerely, Chris Murphy.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Senator Murphy, who's doing an awesome job in these very interesting times. Representative Reyes, y'all gotta shout into this microphone, but I know you'll be fine with that. Our next dignitary is State Representative Reyes, who is, I'm gonna get this right, the 75th District, which covers our House seat in Waterbury, and who's really active and amazing, helping us out at CHRO. Representative Reyes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, on this beautiful MLK Day. It's an honor and privilege to be here. This is my 5th year, one of my favorite events. Not loving the winter, but you know what? Gotta show up, you gotta dress up and show up, and you know, my remarks are gonna be very brief because MLK legacy speaks for itself, and there are so many eloquent speakers that will speak before me and after me. This today, for me, is a day of pride to show that it's not just where we come from, but where we're going and what we have to do to get there. And sometimes we find ourselves in redundant ways as if though things are going backwards. This is why we must keep showing up. Civil engagement right now is probably the #1 thing that we all have to do. And I will leave that right there. I am here for the kids. Today I come as a proud legislator, but even more so as a proud grandparent. And I have my 2 grandchildren here that are going to speak next. Is this correct? Okay, so I will yield the rest of my time to Julian James Kingsbury.
My name is Julian Kingsbury, and today, me and my sister Veda are going to share a speech about Martin Luther King Jr. and what he means to us. To me, Martin Luther King Jr. represents equality and fairness to all races. He thought all races shouldn't have different rights just based off of their skin color. He wanted all races to come together and have equal chances and opportunities regardless of their past. If he was here today, he would be happy and proud that people's voices are being heard. And my sister has some regards to share. Thank you. Hello, I'm Veda Kingsbury, and today I'd like to be saying a speech on behalf of Martin Luther King. Firstly, I'd like to say how glad I am to see all of your faces come together and celebrate this day. Martin Luther King has changed our lives in many different ways. Either it's your voice being heard or a boost of confidence to stand up for ourselves. And on this day, we'll cherish every moment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Representative Reyes, and thank you so much, young people. The voices of our youth are so powerful. We're getting geared up to get out there and march, to take those steps forward, as Ezekiel Work said. It's so important, and we have the lady in red. She's about to come forward. Our U.S. Congresswoman who is fighting tirelessly for us and lives the dream of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jahana Hayes.
Well, good, what time is it? Good 4th event. Good afternoon, everyone. It is wonderful to be here again with you. I'm laughing because I took out a piece of paper and Treasurer Russell said, you know you're not going to read that paper. But I am, because I wrote this down this year because I want to be very intentional and stay on message. Because you've heard words like interesting to describe the moment that we are in. And I am very emotional today because as I wake up and I see the hypocrisy in so many leaders posting quotes from Dr. King and excerpts from his speeches while they systematically work with surgical precision to reverse all of his work, puts me in a place where I am reminded of how much more work we need to do. Every year, I make it a point to give myself an assignment and to reread something from Dr. King's vast collection of writings and letters and speeches. In past years, I've read his I Have a Dream speech, which many people reference, which is a powerful call for civil and economic rights. His letter from a Birmingham jail, written while he was in prison for protesting nonviolently. Our God is Marching On, the speech he delivered in Selma, to call for justice and nonviolent resistance. His letter to Coretta, an intimate letter to his wife and partner in the movement. Every year, I read something from Dr. King. This year, I chose to read the eulogy he gave after 4 little black girls, Denise McNair, age 11, Addie Mae Collins, age 14, Cynthia Wesley, age 14, and Nicole Robertson, age 14, were killed when 19 sticks of dynamite exploded at the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, on September 15, 1963, just 3 weeks after the March on Washington. Now, I know this is a children's event, and a eulogy may seem like a heavy topic, but I also recognize that the children gathered here today are growing up in households that value justice, that embody the work of Dr. King, the work of human rights and civil rights, and all of the things he did. And we must remember, Dr. King was only 39 years old when he died. He started very young and packed a lifetime worth of work into those very short years. In his sermon, Dr. King said, and I quote, "In a real sense, they have something to say to each of us in their death," talking of these 4 girls. "They have something to say to every minister of the gospel who has remained silent behind the safe security of stained glass windows. They have something to say to every politician who has fed his constituents with the stale bread of hatred and the spoiled meat of racism. They, these little girls, have something to say to a federal government that has compromised with the undemocratic practices of Southern Dixiecrats and the blatant hypocrisy of right-wing Northern Republicans. They have something to say to every Negro who has passively accepted the evil system of segregation and who has stood on the sidelines in a mighty struggle for justice. They, those 4 little girls, say to each of us, black and white alike, that we must substitute courage for caution. They say to us that we must be concerned not merely with who murdered them, but with what? With the system, with the way of life, the philosophy that produced the murderers. Their death says to us that we must work passionately and unrelentingly for the realization of the American dream. Dr. King imagined that these little girls would be demanding answers of the community, of the clergy, of their elected officials, so that their death would not be in vain. He reminds us that we must not merely be concerned with who committed these murders, but what. We are once again in a moment where we have to ask ourselves not just who, but what our society is creating. What hatred is being nursed to full adulthood? What beliefs and ideas about natural superiority are creating a permission structure that makes us numb to violence, even when we see it with our own eyes? We must resist the urge to remain silent and stay on the sidelines. We must all substitute courage for caution and work passionately and unrelentingly for the realization of the American dream. As I'm reading this, I think of the community in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the neighbors and friends who are substituting courage for caution, who are standing up for their friends, for their neighbors, for their community, who are speaking out and demanding justice, for the people who understand that true peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. Today, I think about how much Dr. King could have accomplished if he were given 39 more years. But he wasn't. But I also know how this can end. I also know that the work that he did in that very short life that he lived gave us a blueprint for what happens when we come together in unity, when we speak up for our neighbors and our friends, when we demand justice, when we don't sit on the sidelines, when we march, when we walk, when we vote, when we protest nonviolently, when we demand something better, where we make sure that we understand not just the who, but the what. So every year, the words of Dr. King seem more relevant to me, but this year feels different. I really thought that my contribution to my community, that me giving back to this society would be as a classroom teacher, but God had other plans for me. And he took me out of a place that was comfortable, out of a place that was familiar. He gave me a voice and a platform, and then the means to use it. And today I use that voice, I use that platform to demand that we keep, as these children said, marching forward, taking one step forward towards justice, of holding the line to make sure that the clock is not turned back to the 1960s, to demanding that we answer the question that those little girls would have asked of their community. Not just the who, but the what allowed this to happen. I am so grateful to be here with you. I am so grateful for the ability to speak to you as your representative in this government. Because I know that in the time that Dr. King lived, during the civil rights movement, during much of what we're talking about today, my wildest dreams could not have even been realized. So I thank you for the gift of hope, for the gift of love, for these children who already have decided at a very young age that they will do their part to relentlessly march towards justice. And I say to you, not just you, because you're here already, your families, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, silence is no longer an option. We must commit to exchanging caution for courage. The moment we are in demands it. Thank you.
These are indeed very difficult times for us, but in the words of our Congresswoman, we have to substitute caution for courage, right? We're going to be courageous, but we are going to stomp out hate with peace, with a peaceful march and a peaceful protest, with words of wisdom, with education about our history, where we come from and where we're headed, the steps that we're going to take forward towards justice. Right now, I'd like to have Joe Young come forward because we're getting to the point where we are really getting geared up to start our march. We're going to have one final selection before I call our march leaders forward. The students, you should get yourselves ready. Ethan Works, Wyatt New, Annie Stewart, Elijah Morgan, Jonay Tolliver, and Calvin Shannon. Get yourselves ready. Mr. Joe Young, can you please come forward? He is going to introduce you to our singers and to Sir Sheffick Macaulay. Thank you.
Can we hear it for the state of Connecticut? Can we hear it for CHRO and the leadership of Cheryl Sharp? She's doing an amazing job, her and her team. My name is Joe Young from Connecticut, born and raised, and it's an exciting time in Connecticut. And Representative Hayes, what you said was beautiful and amazing, and we all can contribute. And what I do is produce films and things like this. Something's exciting happening. There's a partnership between CHRO and my agency, and we created a PSA called Kemet, One Nation, Many Journeys, that talks about immigration and the power of immigrants, and it's with the mascot that we created. The song breaks today all over the country. Actually, we got a congressional recognition from U.S. Congressman John Larson, which we launched at the National Press Club about a month ago. And Cruz Angel, who won Amateur Night at the Apollo, he sings the lead on this song, also with the students of University of Bridgeport, and he's going to sing. Where's Cruz Angel? Can you come up? Also in the PSA, we have Sheffick Macaulay, who won an Emmy for the Paris Olympics. Raise your hand, Sheffick. And we have a special guest. You're going to see this mascot. Again, we just won the AVA National Award, the highest honor in the competition nationally. Can we bring up Kemet, the mascot? And then we're going to get started. Cruz, can you come up here? Get your stuff all set up. Let's hear it for Kemet, the time traveler. And he'll be leading the march. And so, can you enter that way to the right? And Kemet, you're just going to stand while and what he's going to sing is a song that deals with diversity and togetherness. What we did was we mashed up Lift Every Voice and Star Spangled Banner, okay? And so, Cruz, whenever you're ready, let's go.
Bring
better sing, young man. And as we are marching, thank you so much. That was wonderful, beautiful. As we are about to start our march, and because we passed the torch on, I'm going to ask the singer, can you come over here, pass the torch to this young man? Yeah. He is going to sing a verse, one line. Nice. And we're going to pass the torch to Ace Michael Shaw, who is 8 years old or 9?
9.
He's 9 years old. Okay, take it away, Ace.
Lift every voice and sing till in the heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun. Let us adjourn to victory.
And that's how we pass the torch, people. That's how we pass the torch. Now, we are about to start our march. Can I have the students please come forward with the CHRO flag? I need to find my place on this paper. What is it? Okay. Ethan Works, Wyatt New, Annie Stewart, please come forward. Elijah Morgan and Jonay Tolliver. I'm going to say it again. Ethan Works, Wyatt New, Annie Stewart, Elijah Morgan, and Jonay Tolliver. We have our African drummer, Alvin Carter Jr., who's going to play the music. I need for you, where's the banner? Where are the children? Come and stand here, children. Right here, right in the front. Come here. Where are you? Annie Stewart, come on up here. Ethan Works, where are you? Calvin Shaw, where are you? Get up here, honey. Let's go. Calvin Shaw, Wyatt New, where are you? Jonay Tolliver, where are you? There you are. Stand across here. These are the young people that Ethan Works, get up here, Ethan Works. Get up here. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, it's okay. It's okay. Thank you so much. Okay. So, they are going to lead us in this march. They're going to carry the CHRO banner. Who has the banner? Why don't the children have the banner? Someone give the kids the banner, please. Let's go. All right. Thank you so much to everyone who's here. We're having our poster contest. So Sheffick McCauley, right here, he will be announcing the winners when we come back. So we have prizes for everyone, and thank you. Let's go. You guys ready? We're going to, no, don't ask any questions right now. What I need you to do is, we're going to,